First of all, I want to start by wishing mothers a happy Mother's Day for those celebrating Mother's Day on the African continent. Earlier this afternoon, I had the privilege and honor to attend a cultural event on the history of Sudan. And this was my first attendance of a cultural event on the history and culture of Sudan. What fascinates me about Africa is that there is a lot of shared cultures. We have a shared history that many of us are not aware of. So it was quite fascinating for me to see that many actually greeted me in their own language, speaking Sudanese language. And many had assumed that I'm also from Sudan. So the opportunity to actually have a cultural event, it allows those who are not from Sudan to learn about the values held going back centuries and centuries ago. Sudan, according to scientists, is probably the home of the very early humans that appeared on Earth. It has one of the most diverse cultures on the African continent. It is the home of pyramids, and it is the home of one of the most courageous queen that once defeated the Romans. So as I interacted with the organizers of this particular event, I was shown around and they explained the different cultures within Sudan. Today, focused more on the tradition of weddings, and covering things like costume and incense and things like that. I find it quite amazing that each of the African country has an identity of its own in terms of culture and tradition. So as I shared that with my genetic test analysis, that they had traced some of my lineages in ancient time to Sudan. When I mentioned the tribe they identified in Sudan, I had so many mothers who came forward and said, I'm Dongoloia, which is that tribe in northern Sudan. So that's my maternal line. And they estimate that around 1860, there was a Sudanese ancestor that came from that part of the African continent. So for me, the reason why I always talk about cultural interaction and cultural collaboration and the preservation of oral tradition is to really remind people that we have more in common than anything that may divide us. So for me, today's event was really an opportunity for me to not just learn about the culture and the history, but it's to also look at ways that we can continue the oral tradition, which is very much part of the African identity, to pass on the wisdom of our forefathers, onto the next generation. I interacted with the young and the old and my generation, and we talked about, of course, the recent events of Sudan, which has crippled the country and forced many into exile. That's something I understand, obviously, having been forced into exile myself about 2 decades ago. So you have a people who have been forced out of their home, but now understand why even culture really is important to maintain. It is about really making sure that the future generation will have the same resilience as our generation, as our forefathers' generation. I enjoy interacting with so many people of different cultures, not just from Africa, but each time we have those interactions, I go away having learned something that I can use in my own daily life and reflect on a future I wish to build. So I'm very proud that on the day of Mother's Day, I met so many people of her maternal lineage, the Dongolawiya of Northern Sudan. And I hope that for generations to come, we'll continue this tradition to tell the stories of our forefathers. And most importantly, that they also have the same passion as us to maintain that cultural identity wherever they are born. And to end this, of course, my hope is that one day there'll be peace in those countries, in Sudan. I hope that one day they will value the cultural heritage they have to help them build a greater future. One of the hosts reminded me about an important concept in Islamic faith. He talked about the fact that if one person saves one life, it's like saving the whole of humanity. And if one person kills one person, it's like killing the whole of humanity. May we learn to emulate to those values. And may we all contribute to making our world a better place for everyone. Thank you.